Welcome, everyone, to Punctuation Adventures. Have you ever tried driving down a busy street where all the traffic lights were broken? That's exactly what reading a book without punctuation feels like, pure chaos. Today, we're going to meet our 3 punctuation superheroes. Full Stop Fred, who knows exactly when to quit, Comma Carla, the queen of the pause, and Apostrophe Alex, the master of ownership. Let's get moving! First up is Chapter 1, featuring our reliable friend, Full Stop Fred. Fred is a simple guy with a very important job. He tells the reader, "Hey, we're done here." Whether you're talking about the weather or a cat sitting on a mat, Fred is the tiny but mighty signal that your complete thought has finished. No statement is complete without him. But wait, Fred has a secret life. He's also a master of disguise who loves to hide inside abbreviations. If you're shortening a title like Doctor to Doctor, or a month like January to Jan, Fred is right there at the end to show that the word has been trimmed down. Just think of him as the little dot that says, "Pardon me, there's more to this word than meets the eye." Now, even superheroes have boundaries. Fred has one major rule. He is strictly forbidden from attending parties at the end of headings, titles, or labels. If you're writing the title of your favorite story, leave Fred at home. It might feel tempting to put a dot there, but remember, Fred only ends full sentences, not the names of the show. Let's move on to Chapter 2 and meet Comma Carla. Carla is your best friend when you're dealing with a long list of things, like picnic supplies. She loves jumping between the sandwiches and the crisps, but in British English, she always takes a break before the final "and." She keeps your lists tidy so your reader doesn't get breathless trying to say everything at once. Carla also acts as a border guard. When a sentence starts with a phrase telling us when or where, what we call a fronted adverbial, Carla stands right there to mark the spot before the main action begins. Whether it's after the storm or without hesitation, Carla ensures there's a clear path for the rest of the sentence to follow. Sometimes we want to tuck a little extra gossip or information into the middle of a sentence. That's when we need a Carla sandwich. By placing a comma on both sides of the extra info, we give it a little hug. The best way to check if you need 2 Carlas is to try removing the middle part. If the sentence still makes sense without it, those commas are doing their job perfectly. Think of commas as the glue between 2 big ideas. When you're joining 2 complete sentences using and, but, or so, Carla hops in right before the joining word. She's like a little yellow flag on a train, signaling that another full car is about to be attached to the engine. Carla is also quite polite. She always steps in when you're speaking directly to someone. Putting commas around a name shows you're talking to Sarah, not just talking about her. Without Carla, a sentence like, "Let's eat, Grandma," becomes, "Let's eat, Grandma," and I think we can all agree that Grandma would much rather have the comma. Finally, Carla is the essential bridge in dialogue. Whenever you're writing what someone said, she separates the spoken words from the person who said them. Whether the speaker comes first or the quote comes first, Carla is always there to manage the handoff between the talking and the reporting. It's time for Chapter 3 and our final hero, Apostrophe Alex. Alex is all about ownership. When just one person or thing owns something, like a cat's whiskers or a teacher's desk, Alex floats down with an S to stake the claim. It's like a little flag that says, "This belongs to that person right there." But what if there's a whole crowd of owners? If you have a group of cats or a whole room full of students, the word already ends in an S. In this case, Alex doesn't want to make things crowded with another S, so he just lands quietly at the very end. He's still showing ownership, just from the back of the line. Sometimes plurals like to be different. Words like children or men don't end in S. For these special cases, Alex treats them just like a single owner. He simply adds the S back on. Whether it's the children's toys or the women's club, Alex makes sure everyone knows exactly who owns what. Alex isn't just about owning things. He's also a master of space. When we squish two words together to make them shorter, like I am into I'm, some letters get pushed out. Alex drops into the gap to act as a placeholder for the missing letters. He's the bridge that holds our contractions together. Time for a trick alert. The battle between its and its is the ultimate test of your punctuation powers. Here is the secret brain test. If you can replace the word with it is, you need Alex and his apostrophe. If you can't, it's a possessive it's, and Alex stays away. Think of it as a logic puzzle for your pen. All right, heroes, put on your thinking caps. It's quiz time. Can you spot the mistakes here? Remember, just because a word is plural doesn't mean it needs an apostrophe, and its is only for it is. Looking at our list, I think you're already becoming experts at spotting where Fred, Carla, and Alex need to be. Hooray! You've completed the adventure and earned your title as a punctuation hero. We've seen how Fred ends sentences, Carla manages pauses, and Alex shows ownership and replaces letters. Now, the real magic happens when you use these skills in your own writing. Try to use all three heroes in your work today. You've got this.